Welcome to Tales by Jin. I'm Jin, and you're listening to the Tales of Lux and Cor Gwyndolyn series. This is Youth, Part 1, the second episode in the series. Sit back, relax, and let yourself be whisked away as we return to the world of Tenebrae to follow Gwyndolyn on her continued adventures in the Dragon Wastes of Cor and beyond.
So the embarrassment has a tongue after all. Care to repeat yourself, runt?
Gwyndolyn stared up at the hooded figure, the shaman of her clan. Kobold shamans were generally revered among their people, and often took on the role of primary educator of the youth. This one, however, seemed more preoccupied with belittling Gwyndolyn any chance they got. Anytime she opened her mouth, the shaman had some cutting remark prepared to berate or embarrass her in front of the others. So she didn't.
Right. Was my imagination after all. I suppose the mind tends to flights of fancy at my age. After all, who would expect the runt of a two-egg clutch laid by that pair of useless...
Gwyndolyn hissed. The other children around her backed away immediately. One thing a young kobold never did was hiss at an elder, especially not the shaman. Corrective action was sure to be swift and painful. The shaman stepped before Gwyndolyn and loomed over her. Kobolds weren't known for their towering stature, but it doesn't take much for an adult of any race to tower over their own children. The shaman lowered their hood and revealed a face scored with scars. One eye was clouded over, but the good one was fixed directly on Gwyndolyn.
Did my ears hear correctly, Gwyndolyn the runt? Did you just hiss at me? Talk shit about me all you want, but leave my parents.
The shaman snatched Gwyndolyn's snout shut in her claws and lifted the young kobold until the tips of her talons were scratching jagged patterns in the dust below.
You will speak with respect to me, Kieran Jennifer, killer of the Queen's brother, or you will not speak at all. Your parents were a pathetic waste of scales and couldn't bother living long enough to raise their own child. You are a product of failure, and thus destined for failure yourself, if it wasn't for...
Kieran's grip loosened ever so slightly. The act may or may not have been related to a sudden tingling sensation growing in the claw clamped around Gwyndolyn's snout.
Christopher?
Yes, Grandma?
Kieran sighed.
Seal her as usual. The rest of you will come with me. We will complete your training elsewhere without further asinine questions.
The kobold called Christopher waddled over and held his palms out towards Gwyndolyn's feet. As he closed his eyes in focus, a faint glow appeared beneath Gwyndolyn. Transparent pale purple crystals sprouted from the light and grew up her legs, encasing them in crystal up to just above her knees. Then Christopher plopped back on his tail, apparently exhausted from the effort. Only once the light faded and the crystals were set in place did Kieran release their grip on Gwyndolyn, and Gwyndolyn hung in place, supported, or more accurately, trapped, by the crystals.
Now the rest of you, come with me. That includes you, Christopher.
But, Grandma,
the young kobold wheezed.
Using that much magic really makes me tired.
Again Kieran sighed, this time with a wince accompanying the familial term. They pulled their hood back up, then motioned to the others to follow.
You know where to find us. Do not linger too long around that.
And then the two were alone.
I don't get it.
Get what?
Christopher was leaning back, supported by his hands just as much as his tail, talking to the sky as much as he was Gwyndolyn.
I mean, like, Why make them mad? You know you're just gonna get in trouble.
Yeah,
So, I don't get it.
stupid.
I'm sorry?
Not you, stupid. Them. This. Everything.
Gwyndolyn pumped her legs, one after the other. They were solidly trapped in the crystal summoned by Christopher. That was what she wanted, after all. Straining against this magic crystal was more of a workout than any of the lectures from that scale-rot-having, milky-eyed, smelly hag ever were. It made her stronger, for sure. But more importantly, it was something she chose for herself.
It's not gonna break.
I know. Yeah, I'm counting on it.
Grandma says my crystals are unbreakable.
Oh yeah? They also say I'm scary and bad and you shouldn't come near me. Ooh.
Gwyndolyn snapped at the air above Christopher. She could never reach him, not with the way her lower body was crystallized into place. Yet it never failed to surprise him and send him rolling, something they'd both come to share a laugh over. It was the only time she ever did anything of the sort.
How do you do it?
Eh?
Gwyndolyn paused in her crystal squat reps to look down at Christopher. His gaze was lost somewhere squarely in the dust between his feet.
What are you talking about?
I mean, like, Grandma, they don't like backtalk. I can't. They don't like when people don't do what they say. I'm not even supposed to call them Grandma. But they're the shaman, and I'm supposed to be some great warrior or something one day. It's my destiny or something, they always say. I have to live up to my ancestors, and I have to be the best battle mage, and I have to... I don't know. Maybe I am really good with magic? Maybe that's why they're always telling me I have to train more. I have such great things in my future. Stuff like that. But aren't there other kobolds that are good with magic? One time I overheard them say that you...
Chris?
Yes?
Shut up.
Oh.
Gwyn got back to her crystal squats. Her training was coming along nicely, if her thickening thighs were any indication. If Christopher's crystals really were indestructible, apart from him dispelling them himself, it wouldn't matter in time. She'd soon be strong enough to rip the damn things out of the very stone they were anchored in. And then what? She could not wait to see the look on Kieran's face the day she pulled that off. Look, Shaman, see how I took your punishment and turned it into a strength? See how your every attempt to make me feel small only pushes me to grow all the more.
I don't care.
Chris's head sunk further down his chest.
Oh.
Not about what you were saying, stupid.
Gwyn growled.
About Kieran, and the stupid things they say, and all their stupid views and everything. I don't care. So what if they're some shaman or whatever? So what if they're a two-name? They probably just bitched at the queen's brother until he willed himself to death just to get away from them.
Chris tried his best not to laugh. For his efforts, he was rewarded with a strangled snort.
You feel bad when they talk at you because you like them. You want them to be happy with you. Because they're the shaman? Or is it a family thing? Yes? No? I wouldn't know. What I do know is that any time they open their mouth about me, it's just a bunch of dried cave shit. So why should I have to care about what they have to say when they clearly don't care about me?
Oh.
Gwyn filled the following silence with more straining against the crystal. Not caring was all she had, really. She couldn't imagine what kind of kobold she would be if she did care. Some kind of mindless drone like the rest of the young around her, gobbling up every little morsel of vague praise from the elders, and all for what? To go run off and die in pursuit of a second name? It made no sense. It was stupid. What was the point of living if all they were meant to do was throw their lives away? What if they just talked? What if they just asked Cor and royalty what happened to the dragons instead of trying to kill them? Why did they even worship dragons? Had anyone ever seen a dragon? These were the questions that never ceased to echo in Gwyndolyn's head any time she interacted with others of her kind. These were the questions that earned her her crystal shackles any time she gave them voice. Do not question tradition. Do not question our way of life. This is what you were born to do. This is why you were made. Growling, Gwyndolyn strained against the crystal gripping her left leg. Tradition was stupid, so she pulled. Their way of life was stupid, so she pulled. There was no way this was what she was born to do, so she pulled. This was absolutely not why her parents, not some bearded dragon in the sky, made her. So she pulled. And the stone around the crystal imprisoning her cracked.
Well, you don't seem as winded as usual.
Chris froze on the spot. Beads of crystal formed and tinkled down his lilac scales.
You... What are you talking about? I'm tired, definitely. I just...
Hey, Chris, chill. They're gone already.
Christopher sighed, and the sweat crystals dispersed along with the tension in his body.
I didn't think it was that obvious.
Gwyn shrugged.
It wasn't. But we've been doing this for a while.
I know what you look like when you're actually tired from using magic. Good thing Kieran doesn't. You're a shit liar. Good thing they don't actually pay attention to you, huh, Mr. Savior of Kobold kind?
I asked you not to call me that.
Why not? Isn't it public knowledge at this point? Christopher, grandson of the great Kieran Jennifer, wielder of Crystal Unbreakable, is going to single-handedly kill the King of Cor, bring back our creators, and restore kobold kind to greatness. Or was that some other Christopher fattened up and pampered by the shaman themselves and spared the harshest of tongue lashings and trainings, etc., etc.?
Please, stop.
As far as Gwyn could remember, this was the first time she had seen a kobold cry. Tears born of physical pain were one thing. There was plenty of that in the training young kobolds endured. But this was different. Christopher's crystallizing tears welled from a different source. Something deeper than flesh. Something she wasn't aware her words had the power to reach. She, unthinkingly, had wounded his heart. Cut him down with words, much like the shaman often attempted to do to her. No, she was nothing like the shaman. She was joking. She meant no malice in what she said. She was just playing, just messing around. It wasn't serious. She didn't mean it. She wasn't thinking. She was...
Sorry.
Sniffles. She couldn't see his face to read his expression, as it was buried in folded arms propped up on his knees. Gwyn flopped back, letting the crystal support her whole weight as she hung there, limp.
Christopher. Hey, Chris.
Sniff. Then, in a barely audible murmur,
Thank you.
Gwyn tilted her head so that she was looking at Chris right side up, despite being doubled over backwards.
Think what now?
Thank you.
Chris rubbed his eyes with the back of one hand and dispelled the crystal tears with a wave of the other.
After all, this is all your fault.
My?
Gwyndolyn bolted upright.
Whoa, wait, hold on now. What's my fault? What exactly are you thanking me for? I'm a little confused now.
I think I'm teasing you a little.
Teasing me? You? Chris?
Yes,
He said with a bit of a chuckle.
because, well, I do have to thank you. I only got so good at my magic because of, well...
He gestured at all of Gwyndolyn.
Ah.
Yes.
explains why you don't get so tired after sealing me up anymore, I guess.
Yes. So, thank you.
Right, okay, you're welcome, I think. But, like, the other stuff being my fault, what's that about?
Oh, that's...
Chris went back to studying the dust between his legs.
I've been getting better at magic. Grandma says I'm a prodigy. I might be the most magically gifted kobold ever.
Aha. Yeah, I can see that. Given your crystals seem to have gotten harder every time we do this.
Sorry.
Don't be. The stronger you get with the make, the stronger I'll be when I break out. Break out of the crystals. Not break myself trying to break out of. Chris's laughter was infectious. It was a sound she was hearing less and less of as the weeks and months drew on. Snapping at the air above his head just didn't do the trick anymore. All the same, she welcomed it with her own. If their laughter was going to end up becoming as rare as a kobold serving in the Corin court, she may as well indulge when she could. They sat in the silence that followed, letting it settle on them like the dust on the rocks of their desolate home. Far off in the distance, they watched as lightning struck the dry, barren earth. It seemed to be headed west, towards the hatching grounds. Hatchlings were going to die when there was no reason for them to. But that was tradition. Thunder rumbled in Gwyndolyn's throat.
I don't want it.
Chris said suddenly.
Want what?
Any of it. I don't like fighting. I don't want to be a fighter.
I guess, yeah, you're definitely more suited to magic.
No, I mean all of it. I don't mind being good at magic. I don't want to hurt people with it. Why?
Why can't what, Chris?
The crystal tears began again.
Why can't I be beautiful in my own way? Why can't my magic be beautiful without hurting people? I don't want to be a savior. I don't want to kill a king. I don't want any of this. Why did I have to be the grandson of the shaman? Why?
Chris.
He sniffed a few times more, and then the unthinkable happened. For the first time in their interactions, they touched. Indirectly, of course, because Chris's crystal was still in between their physical flesh. But Chris was leaned up against Gwyn's leg all the same. Somehow, it just felt right.
Hey, Chris, have you ever thought about what you'd want your second name to be?
What? I don't want to.
Shh, stupid. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let's say that somehow, somewhere, there's a kobold clan that lets you earn a second name some other way. Like maybe you do something really cool or important. It doesn't have to be killing royalty or anything, but like something big. Something people notice. Okay? So like, let's say you used your crystal magic and made some kind of a thing that was like really beautiful. Like so beautiful. And then not just kobolds, but trolls, goblins, dwarves, people from all over Cor saw it and went, yeah, that's beautiful, all right. And like people actually came here from all over Cor just to see it, to see your beauty. That'd be worthy of a second name, right? So what would your second name be then?
Chris stared up at Gwyn.
Grandma is right. You're crazy.
Just answer the question, stupid,
she said, grinning.
Fine, alright, okay. Second name.
You mean you've never thought about it?
I mean, have you?
Well, no, but like, I'm not the grandson of... I am just a runt who's not going anywhere.
People like me don't get second names.
You don't believe that. If you did, what's the point of these thighs?
They exist purely to spite the shaman.
Fair. But I guess it's not completely honest of me to say I haven't thought about a second name. Just not for me.
Who then? Is your grandmother making you think up a third one for her?
No, it's for you.
Gwyn bent down to get her face as close to Chris's as the restraining crystal would allow.
Have you hatched out of your mind? I'm a runt that gets in trouble with the shaman on purpose so I can spend as little time as possible basking in the stupid of other kobolds. There's no way I could ever get a second name.
Exactly. There's something about you. Something that my grandma can see or feel. I hear it in the way they talk about you sometimes. My grandma, Kieran Jennifer. 2 names, and they're put off by well, I won't say what they say. But they're weird about you, Gwyndolyn Winifred. I think that is worthy of 2 names.
Gwyndolyn Winifred. The second name resonated to her very core and settled in the pit of her stomach like a hearty meal. It filled her with energy, sustenance. It felt, above all, right. And she had no idea why. It was, after all, just a name that wasn't actually hers, that she hadn't actually earned. But if one day she did earn a second name, well, she now knew what it had to be.
Chris?
Gwyn?
So that clan I mentioned,
Yes?
what if I said I wanted to be in it?
That would make sense. But there's no way it exists.
Then I'll just have to make it.
You'd be exiled if you tried. Besides, we need our clans to survive. Exiled kobolds don't last long in the wastes. And you'd need a mate to start it with anyway.
Then you'll be my mate.
What?
You have a problem with being my mate?
No, it's just...
Just what?
Well, we haven't even started going on raids yet. And I guess I do like you.
Then it's decided. You'll be my mate, and we'll start a clan that isn't stupid.
But Grandma...
Fuck Grandma.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Tales of Lux and Cor, Gwyndolyn. If you liked what you've heard, please be sure to like the video and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to make sure you're notified when new episodes come out. Thanks for stopping by, and may your cave be ever warm.